Hey guys, it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you're brand new, I am very excited that you decided to join me here today for another apartment renovation. And we're at 19 Culpepper House, renovating this kind of large apartment, and it's actually a Needs TLC apartment, but we're renovating it in the dark academia aesthetic. Something I have never done before in my entire life, and I knew nothing about until I decided to look it up. And I ran a poll over on Discord, maybe at the time of this video coming out a week or two ago. I'm not quite sure when this is going to go live, but I basically ran a poll and I was like, themes for an apartment, mid-century, dark academia, or a paranormal investigator, because I was trying to find a middle ground potentially of something spooky if people wanted to see that. I don't know. And the vote was for dark academia, and I struggled so much with trying to come up with a way to do this because I really didn't understand it. So what I understand is that it's mainly a social media aesthetic. Please correct me if I am wrong, but it is inspired by upper class European culture of the 19th century and American prep. Now, I could go down probably like 2 or 3 other rabbit holes to try to fully understand what that is saying, but basically there was kind of a level of pretentiousness that was celebrated within the dark academia community. It kind of romanticized education and moments in life that were, I don't know, maybe a bit more tumultuous. I think a lot of people associate dark academia with poetry and writing, Shakespeare, like stuff like that. I won't go too far into the weeds because truly I don't fully understand it, but I really like the actual style. I really liked trying to find objects in the game that fit this aesthetic and this theme. So hopefully I achieved that. And if you have more information about dark academia or wish to discuss it, please comment down below because I know nothing about it. But you can see that we already furnished the dining room, which was my favorite part of the entire apartment. I knew I wanted to use this apartment because I could customize the room just a little tiny bit. I knew I could use those windows. Number one, that was like the first thing I thought of, was using those windows in the black swatch. And I wanted to kind of customize the balcony area a little bit. So this was the perfect unit to do that. And the dining room is beautiful. In my opinion, I got to use the Realm of Magic archways, which I have used maybe once, maybe twice. I can't really recall, but I know that the last time I used it was in my hobbit hole because it was kind of the perfect fit for that. But anyway, I fell in love with this apartment. It's not a style that I would personally want to live in. We'll say that. I think that a lot of the, what am I trying to say? ASMR. Like, I watch some ASMR stuff and I've come across some dark academia ones, and I think that they are absolutely beautiful. I completely understand where that kind of romanticizing of a certain time period or way of living kind of came about, but I just think it was so pretty, and I had so much fun stepping out of my comfort zone yet again, trying to do something a little bit new. So you guys will just have to let me know if I nailed it or not. I may have gone a little bit overboard, and I also think that my gravitating towards matching wood tones more often than not really pushed against me here, though. I literally just said that I tried not to care about it, like I didn't care if the wood tones matched, but I really did because I wanted the wood tones to be a very, very dark brown. I didn't want to use black because I felt that if I used too much black in the actual furnishings, that it would start to just look like a vampire lair, and that's not what I was going for. I wasn't going for anything creepy or decrepit or eerie. I just wanted it to match what I was seeing all over the internet. That's as much influence as I have here. Like, I just looked at things on the internet. I had a board on Pinterest where I was just pinning everything that had to do with dark academia. And then I just went about my day and tried to do an apartment. I think I tried 5 or 6 different times to start either an apartment or a build to match this theme, and every single one of them failed. Every single one. I spent 3 hours one day just trying to start something, and I could not find a color scheme that I liked. And then, miraculously, the next morning, after all of those attempts, I woke up and I was like, I'm going in this apartment and I'm doing it. And I started doing it, immediately did the dining room, and I was like, yep, this is it. I found it. Let's continue. And then I just went on my way and I ended up making this, but you can see here that the living room has come together, and then we're going to be working on the kitchen, which was probably the hardest part of this build because I wasn't quite sure what I wanted this to look like. A lot of the dark academia inspiration pictures that I was finding, they really had to do with offices and studies and libraries and living spaces compared to kitchens. So I wasn't quite sure where I wanted this to go, but I tried to just match the color scheme to the best of my ability, and I think it ended up working. I do end up adding a little breakfast table, I want to say, behind the island instead of that console table, just because it was going to look a little bit too cluttered with the clutter that I put on top of the island as well. There's also some floating shelves, and this beautiful door from Discovery University leads out to the patio, which I take that back. The kitchen was not the hardest part. The patio was the hardest part. The patio was actually really challenging. I had no idea what to put out there, but I really liked the kitchen. I thought that I kind of struck a balance with the dark browns and the blacks here, a little bit more than I was able to in the living space even. I just really liked it though. It looked like a kitchen still. It looked lived in. Again, it didn't look like it was going to be like a vampire lair or anything like that. And it is fully functional. And what more could you ask for in a kitchen when you're trying to go for a specific theme? You hit the theme, it works. Sounds great. That's pretty much it. But I did really like it. I enjoyed using a mix though of modern appliances. My original thought was to try to use the Realm of Magic appliances, but they were way too bedazzled. Were they bedazzled? They looked a little bit too bedazzled for me, a little bit too magical and mystical, and that wasn't really what I was going for here, though I did use the Realm of Magic bookcases throughout the entire build because I thought they worked perfectly, which is kind of funny because on one of them, there are kind of these crystals and gems and things on the bookshelf, but I still think it worked because the Discovery University ones just seemed a little bit too intimidating, especially with the wall height. I don't know if this makes sense. I'm just brain dumping how I was moving through this build because it was so new and uncomfortable for me. It really was. And I'll basically pose the question, have you guys built anything in this style? And if so, is it your preferred style? Do you really enjoy it? Did you find it challenging? Did you use inspiration pictures, or did you really just kind of go with your feeling, your gut on things? Because I find that sometimes if I go too deep into the weeds with inspiration pictures, I can't come up with any original ideas. So I pinned a ton of stuff days and days prior. Didn't look at it for a few days and then tried to start building, so I wasn't just immediately going back to particular images, if that makes sense. But the kitchen has pretty much come together at this point. I put one of those sculptures from the Romantic Garden stuff pack in the corner, which I thought was a really nice addition. And then this is going to be the entryway. Now, I did mention this was a needs TLC apartment, and recently I have been trying my best to work with those limitations if I'm in an apartment. But for this one, I completely ignored the mouse holes or the rat holes. I ignored the circuit breaker. I ignored the pipes. I literally walled them off and added platforms so you can't even see them. But there's a big but there. They will still break. So you still have to take care of them, and I don't know a way around that, but I just figured I'd give you guys a heads up. I mainly did this just because I really liked this unit. I wanted to see what I could come up with. And even though it is functional, you might run into issues because of all of those TLC areas being blocked off and inaccessible. I wanted to say that out loud, and you're probably thinking, well, why did you even do it? Again, just because I wanted to see what I could come up with, and I really like this unit, so that's what I did. But the entryway is done, and then this is going to be the bedroom, which actually has an open archway to the office. I was hoping that I could have the doorway lead into the bedroom and then have the office towards kind of the back of the build, but it was going to be a huge office and a really small bedroom if I did that, so I ended up making this a small office space. There is this bookshelf from Realm of Magic, like I mentioned. There's the globe in the corner. I could not have done this apartment renovation without a globe somewhere in this build. And then, like I said, the archway leads to the bedroom, and there is room for 2 Sims in this apartment if you wanted to have a couple, but there is only 1 bedroom. So I forgot to mention that. It's a 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom. And the only bathroom is accessible via the bedroom. So it's a little bit awkward. Again, I was really just trying to see if I could achieve this aesthetic and make something that was functional, but if you're thinking of it being realistic, we're not quite there. We didn't really hit the mark. But this is going to be the bathroom, which is very, very simple, very plainly decorated. There's also a closet, and then the bedroom actually only has like maybe 2 pieces of artwork. There isn't much going on here. So I don't know. It didn't seem like it was calling for a lot of things in the bedroom. I've noticed that with this style and the objects that I ended up using, there's enough detail in, say, the flooring, in this comforter I chose, in the wall paneling, that I didn't feel the need to add a ton of artwork because the spaces didn't seem empty. Does that make sense to you guys? It didn't seem empty, so I struggled putting artwork on the wall sometimes because it felt as though I was over-cluttering. It felt like there was enough detail in all of the other objects to count as decoration. So hopefully that makes sense. That's where my brain was going. But once we finish up the bedroom, we do move on to the patio, which was my biggest struggle. It really, really was. I did put, I think there's an outdoor dining table. There is a bench. There's a chess table. There's a few different plants. And then there's also just another little bench because I truly couldn't think of anything that would match this aesthetic that would be a functional activity or hobby aside from the chess table. I was fully focused on the aesthetic and not so much on adding a bunch of different activities for your Sims. So hopefully you guys don't mind. But yeah, that was pretty much the patio. I do add a hanging plant as well, which with this taller wall height is kind of moot, but I also enjoyed adding some plants outside because there were only a few houseplants inside. But you can see me struggling here and I'll kind of leave it there. But I hope you guys enjoyed this build. I am very nervous about it because I don't know if I really achieved what I set out to achieve, but I liked what I came up with and I can't wait to hear your thoughts. So thank you for dealing with a rambly voiceover. I can't wait to hear your thoughts and I will catch you guys next time I post a video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.